Hi, I'm Paul Sheftel, and I'm here to talk to you, and I'll try to be as clear, succinct, and brief as possible about the materials that are included in this package. Now, first of all, we have Music Pathways. Music Pathways is a rather fascinating method which was authored quite a number of years ago by three very brilliant people, Marvin Blickenstaff, Lynn Freeman Olson, and a third member of the group, Louise Bianchi, and together they pooled their knowledge, resources, and inventiveness and created this very innovative method. What you have is just the first of a four-level series, A, B, C, and D. You have level A. Very simply, in order to really understand this, you need to have the book, and I would urge you to get at least level A, two volumes, level A discoveries and level A solos, and have them in front of you, and then you'll understand much better what the method is about. Now, when you use these files, there are various ways in which you could use them. If you're interested in the method, of course, you could just use it as a method, or you might want to use it as supplementary sight playing material. We all need that. Or think of it as additional repertoire, or maybe just for the experience and fun of playing with MIDI accompaniments. And finally, George Litterst, with whom I'm working, my very dear friend and colleague, has done a absolutely marvelous whole study on using the accompaniments to Music Pathways without the solos, just to improvise, and that document of George's is hugely valuable, and I think you'll enjoy it, and we've included in this package. So enough said about pathways. I want to go on to the next issue, which is the next set of files, which is Personal Trainer. Now, Personal Trainer is a very large project, and there's a lot to tell you about it. This is very much of a thumbnail sketch, but just to give you an overview, there are the complete Personal Trainer is eventually going to consist of 5 levels. What you have is level 1, and there are 4 sections in each level. The 4 sections are called, number 1, Explorations, number 2, Isometrics, a little pun there, EYE, Sometrics, those are reading examples, Foundations, and the 4th section is called Repertoire. Now, the first thing that I would urge you to do, because you're going to be able to download, this is included in the package, the PDF files with all these materials, but they have to be organized into the 4 sections. So I would urge you to get a 3-ring binder with dividers, and I'll help you sort through the material as we go. Now, section 1 is Explorations. On the first page, you'll see there's a chart. It's kind of a check-off chart. You can use it with, especially with young students. They can check off the examples that they've done. Now, let me first of all say that these might look to you simply like little exercises, but we have avoided calling them exercises. We're calling them very deliberately explorations, for the simple reason that we feel, and I keep saying we, the 3 people in this team are George, myself, and Phyllis Lehrer, a very dear friend and a superb colleague, and we, working together, have concluded that an exercise should not be an exercise, a dry, tiresome, repetitive thing. It should be an exploration of beautiful hand shape, beautiful tone, different types of touch, and you'll notice that in each page, I'm going to go into this a little more specifically, but you'll see, just jumping ahead, that each exercise has a suggestion or several suggestions for further exploration. So first you've got the check-off chart. Then if you turn the page, you see the first exploration has to do with balancing, just putting the hand on the piano and feeling a little rotation. There's so many different things. Now, there are usually several exercises in clusters that focus on the same issue in different ways. So you'll see after the balancing little activity, you have an exploration which we call rotations, and then after that, which is rotating back and forth on the fifth, because a good way to begin feeling rotation is not from the middle of the hand but from the outside of the hand. Then you'll see that there are a number of these explorations dealing with fifths in different ways, different touches, different dynamics, different ranges. So little by little you begin to understand that the explorations will include such things as touch, as dynamics, improvisation, transposition, changing hands, and very often the students will be able to suggest different ways of exploring each. And of course, when you play them with the MIDI files, that adds a whole musical, rhythmic element. The second section, so isometrics, starts with a Chekhov chart. And this is section 2, isometrics. And there's your Chekhov chart again. And here what you'll find is a great deal of material designed specifically for reading, and you'll notice that on the hard copy, the PDF files, that every reading experience has an ensemble component. So and they're at the same level, so this is great for two students to play together, or a student and a parent, student and a teacher, or of course the student can play with the MIDI file in which the second part is embedded into a more complete orchestration. And these isometrics are related in difficulty to the first section, the exploration section, so they're reinforcing each other. Now finally we get to the third section, which is we call foundations, and this is simply a very gradual, very carefully designed approach to learning your scales, major and minor, learning chords starting with basic triad building, major and minor, inversions, progressions, and it goes through in the 5 levels it takes the student through. I would venture to say most of the keyboard theory that students need to have under their hands. Well, let me show you exactly how it's organized. If you go to the next page, you get to a checklist, but now you notice it's a somewhat different checklist, because first of all, the first page I skipped was the at a glance page, where you see what is covered in this particular level. Now, after the at a glance, well, how are we going to teach all these materials? We have broken the learning of the materials into 5 levels, and each level takes a certain chunk of the total material. And then at the very bottom you see there are a series of challenges. The challenges are really like a little final exam.